And now, podcasting from the sun-scorched desert Southwest, weighing in at a combined total of 340 pounds, Brad Winchester, Tyler McDowell Blanken, are Gimmick Infringement.
Welcome, everybody, to the Gimmick Infringement Podcast. I am Brad Winchester, and with me is my tag team partner, Tyler McDowell Blanken. Tyler, it is Sunday, May 15th. As we record this, the Suns are going to play in just over an hour. The Bucks are out of contention entirely. Two of the greatest words in all of professional sports, Game 7. How are you feeling today?
I think those are the two greatest words, my friend, without a doubt. I am doing so well. It's great to see you. It's been a very relaxing weekend. Tonight will not be relaxing because I have no idea how this game is going to play out. I really thought Giannis and company were actually going to win in Boston. But like you led us, they did not win. The defending champs are out. For tonight's game, man, I'm stoked. Like you said, it's Game 7. It's the best thing in sports. I am just so worried because I have no idea how this game is going to go. I would love to come on here and tell you that the Suns are definitively going to win at home. But if anything, these playoffs have just proven that whatever predictions I think we came into the postseason with, none of us have any clue what's going to happen. So I'm incredibly nervous. I just believe in this team, and I don't even want to think about the possibility of them breaking my heart. But the game is in our backyard here in Phoenix, so I feel hopeful about that. How are you, my friend?
I'm good. A lot happened this weekend. Hopefully Ford will hear this and want to sponsor the show. Shout out to Ford. Jess was rear-ended yesterday on I-10 going 65 miles an hour, and the back of her car was totaled. Our car. They haven't said that it's totaled yet. There ain't no way they're paying for this thing to get fixed. It's shredded. And it was not drivable. So, so thankful that she's, relatively speaking, doing okay. Her back is a little sore, neck sore, those kinds of things, typical whiplash stuff. I would imagine. She's pretty stiff today, but no cuts, no broken anything, no bruises. The car got banged, and then the dude's truck sailed across the interstate and into a wall. His truck is demolished, and he was also okay. So, really thankful for that. We think what happened was there's a fire on the side of the road, and he was looking at the fire to find out what's going on with the fire. It didn't see Jess was there, and just nailed her. And that car is safe as hell, man. Like, that car took an absolute blow from behind and just skidded straight. It was safe. It was just incredibly safe. So just so thankful that everything's okay. We both loved that thing. I loved that vehicle so much. Just a big ass toaster, but it's going to be missed, man. I don't want to have to go get a new car and do all that. We had a couple years left on the payments. We did a long-term plan to keep the payment down, which, ultimately we pay way more for the car that way. But the payment per month payment was a lot lower that way. So we'll probably do something similar, but probably going forward after that because of how safe it was. So just really, really thankful for that. I also had a big homeowner man moment this weekend. I mowed the lawn, Tyler.
Homeowner man. I think we need future audio for this. A homeowner.
Yes. Oh, I'm absolutely going to start getting out there and going yep, the grass has reached 3 3/4 inches. It's time to shave it down about a 1/4 inch now that it's summer.
I appreciate the sensual element of.
I was thinking golf, but yeah.
Okay.
I was thinking golf, but yeah, we can go just porn.
Throw
whatever.
Some saxophones on there.
Yes,
absolutely.
Some hot take time music.
Yes, that's what we do here.
Yeah, that's definitely not my voice, altered in any way. I don't know who that is. We'll have to come up with a name for that person.
It's a mystery. Might be Alf. I don't know who it is.
It might be. So peek behind the curtain. I really wanted Alf's wife to do the voiceover for it, but I do not believe that she was willing to play along. I think it would have been funny as hell. But
Fellow educator, one of the smartest
Yes.
people I've ever met.
Absolutely.
Great couple. Yeah.
Yeah. Absolute education power couple, like royal
Yes.
family, I feel like in Marina.
Yes.
But yeah, I just, I used the weed whacker, used the leaf blower, used the lawnmower. The grass is looking better. It's not dead in those weird spots as much anymore. It's starting to make a comeback. It's been good. But speaking of making a comeback, Tyler, it's time to bring back our questions. I'm ready for question 1. Let's go.
Let's go. I'm ready too. So, Brad, I got to kick the week. I got to kick our episode off with the women of AEW. We saw 2, I'm going to use your terminology here, 2 absolute bangers of matches in the Owen Hart Foundation tournament. So on Wednesday on Dynamite, we saw Toni Storm pick up the victory over Jamie Hayter. Phenomenal Storm Zero, by the way. I love that she always like pulls the Storm Zero pile driver out of nowhere. It's so quick. I've never seen a pile driver executed like that. Tony picks up the win. Love the red gear. And then on Rampage, Ruby Soho picked up the victory over Riho. Loved both of these matches. I believe you did as well. I know for the former match, I would argue those are possibly your 2 favorite women in AEW, period. I know you got Jade up there as well, but I know how high you are on Jamie and Tony. I think you also got a lot of love for Ruby and Riho.
Yes.
My question here, of course, is what were your thoughts on both of these matches and the implications for the tournament? But more specifically, which match do you think was better?
Ooh. Ruby Riho is better, I think. I loved Tony and Jamie. Just a hoss fight, that match. They were laying their stuff in. That match was snug. That Storm Zero did come out of everywhere, and it was absolutely hellacious. She ate the shit out of that. So yeah, I love that. I love the finish because it was just, I yelled when I was watching it. Just when it happened, it shocked me.
That's the signature Brad sound. Yeah.
Yes, I just well, you've been here. I remember you laughing because Darby popped me.
Yes.
You remember when he won?
That was the sound. Yeah. Darby defeating Cody for the TNT belt. Full gear.
At the old place. Yeah.
Yes, absolutely.
Yeah. So it was very much like that. And I like, there were a couple of moments during, I think, Rampage this week where I stood up. I had to get up. I know during Dynamite I had those too. Just absolutely incredible, man. Like, but that Ruby and Riho match, Riho needs to be world champ again or TBS champ at some point. Riho is so damn underrated as a worker. I understand the criticism of Riho when people say it's because she's undersized and stuff. And yeah, Riho against Jamie Hayter, I'm thinking Jamie's going to win it just based on size. But my God, can she sell? Riho is maybe the best seller in all of AEW. But I love Ruby's sells. Ruby sells off punches. Ruby getting hit in the stomach or in the face are 2 of my favorite things, because her hair does that thing because it's short that it just like whiplashes.
Yeah.
And she'll like always grab her mouth and surprise look on her face, like, oh my God, I got hit. Yeah. And she does the same thing with her stomach if she gets hit in the gut. And I love it so much. But that match was great. I said some stuff last week where I said I don't like Ruby as a singles competitor. This was the first match that I saw in AEW with Ruby solo that I loved. I thought she looked awesome in this match. Just unbelievable. My first question is also about the women. We'll get there in a minute, but I want to know what your thoughts are. Which match did you like the most?
Yeah,
It's tough, man.
They were different.
They liked it because they were so different. It's hard. It's really hard to compare them.
Yeah, I would agree with you. I lean toward Ruby and Riho, but I think I might have these 2 matches a little closer than you do. Mine are
close. Mine are
I'm very tempted to pick Tony and Jamie because, like you said, that match was snug and just so indicative of the rivalry they've been having.
It also had I was going to say it had a build.
Yes.
Ruby and Riho had no build, but But I really like this.
Yeah, the Ruby Riho match style wise just was so intriguing to me. And if I remember correctly, I felt as though the crowd, for whatever reason, seemed to be more into Riho and Ruby.
They love Ruby
than Tony and Jamie. I don't know if it was the placement on the show or just the match itself and how it translated to the live crowd, but for whatever reason, the crowd seemed really quiet for a lot of the Tony and Jamie match,
which just dead,
which
pissed me off.
Which is upsetting and baffling. And for Riho and Ruby, they seemed more consistent. I don't know if that's unfair to the talent to sort of base what's the better match on how the crowd reacted, but I would agree with you. Riho and Ruby really did it for me.
So I listened to, I don't know if it was Busted Open I think it was Jericho talking to Busted Open on his podcast. They did their favorite matches recently. And Jericho made a comment that I think the crowd is important because if you watch Hogan Rock with the audio off, that match sucks. Like it's a bad match, man. It's just terrible. But if you watch it with it on, it's an incredible match. It's an incredible moment, but it's only because the crowd is into it. Sure. Where Jamie Hayter versus Toni Storm, we've been begging for this for like a month, and we got it, and the crowd was dead. How dare you? How dare you? Live audience, you suck. And that's what made me think maybe they didn't mic it the same way as they did with Ruby. It felt like Rampage always ends up with a louder mic setup for the crowd noise. Yeah, because if you watch that match, when you watch the Hayter and Storm match, you can see the crowd jumping up and down in the background. So it was confusing why they were so quiet. Because like when she hit that Storm Zero, there was a dude in the audience I saw just leap into the air, like holy shit, that just
beautiful
happened.
I missed that.
Yeah, you could see him hit, and then the count, and you see this guy like in the background. But I was like, I can't hear this guy. They just put on a great match, and maybe it's the placement in the card. Maybe it's not the match itself, but it's just because it's in that middle of the card. Mm-hmm. Have them open. Maybe the crowd's hotter if you do that. Right. Because if you have CM Punk and John Silver and then Hangman Page, it doesn't really matter where you put that. The crowd's going to be up for that. So I don't know. Hayter and Toni Storm do not have the same kind of crowd appeal as somebody as established as CM Punk. It's just simply that's the case. You can't.
And who does?
No, exactly right.
Like Adam Cole, CM Punk, like it's hard. That's the upper echelon.
Well, that's the thing. It's like CM Punk and Adam Cole. The crowd will come up because of their entrances. Mm-hmm. And then they'll stay up for the match because the entrances were so big. But yeah, it's just it's fascinating to see that stuff. So I don't know. Man, those women, they killed it this week. And it's
a great week.
And this is my question to you. Tony had a great Storm Zero. And then Riho and Ruby had an absolute banger of a match. Those are the words that I wrote. After it was done, it made me think about our predictions for the tournament. Do you have updated predictions after these matches?
I was thinking about this. Let me see. I actually have the graphic right in front of me. So Tony advanced, and she's going to face the winner of Dr. Britt Baker versus the Joker. And it all depends on who this Joker is. Other side, Ruby beats Riho. So Ruby is going to face Red Velvet or Chris Statlander. Presumably Chris Statlander.
Yeah. Statlander is going to murder Velvet.
Right. And part of me wants to say this could be a really big spot for Ruby to make it to the finals of the Owen.
Yeah.
Whether she wins or not, I think making it to the finals and having a banger at Double or Nothing would be just incredible for her. But can we really have Chris Statlander lose? Okay. Here's what I'm going to go with. I'm going to say we get Athena as the Joker. I will still ride with that. We'll see if I'm right come Wednesday. And Athena makes it to the finals to face. Man, this is so difficult. Oh my gosh. I'm going to say we get Athena versus Ruby in the finals. I have just about as much confidence in that as I do for my Suns tonight, Brad. But for the purposes of our listeners in this episode, I will not drag that on. Athena versus Ruby.
Man, it's hard to argue with that. I kind of want to go there too. And the only thing that I could see screwing that up there is Tony and Britt Baker and Jamie Hayter trying to involve herself and screwing it up, and that causes the split. Like she goes up to hit Tony while Britt has her in a headlock or something, and then misses and hits Britt, costs her the match, and then you end up with Tony and Ruby.
Let me ask you though, is it because in my mind the Joker is gonna win in both cases?
That's the thing. They have to.
Do you think it's possible that men's or women's, but I know we're specifically talking about the women, is it possible that a debuting Joker, debuting in air quotes, could lose? Or is that like not even a possibility? The Joker must win. It's such a question mark.
I don't know who it's going to be. I think it's way too soon for this to happen, but I don't know if you saw the bio stuff with the Young Bucks. Did you see that?
No.
So Candice LeRae has her suplexing either Nick or Matt and Jackson. And in the Young Bucks, it's one of them super kicking Candice in the face.
Amazing.
So maybe it's Candice LeRae and maybe the Joker. And maybe the Joker for the men's is Johnny. Maybe both of them go to AEW. I don't know.
Yeah, that same night. Yeah.
But dude, she had that baby not very long ago. It's been 3 months, 4 months almost. But man, that's really soon. I doubt Becky didn't come back that fast. Ronda barely came back that fast after. I think hers was 4 months. So I can't see that happening. Simply from a biology standpoint, like I don't legitimately, after seeing what Jess went through after having Freya, it's like if Candice is breastfeeding, or I don't know what their circumstances, there's no way in hell she's getting in a ring. And to just have that much turnaround.
And they seem pretty content with, and who wouldn't, just enjoying your life, enjoying parenthood. Yeah. You've been on the road. You were killing it in NXT for years and years and years. Yeah. We don't need you to rush back.
So I can see Johnny being the Joker. Okay. Sure. I hope it's not him. I hope it's a returning Miro. I hope
so too. But I think it has to be Miro.
Everybody's like, well, they've always used Jokers as a way to debut new stars. And I was like, that's not true. The last Joker we had was Hangman.
Right.
So it's not true.
Won the title shot. Yeah.
Yeah. So when I see this stuff on like Twitter, it's like, do you guys have memories at all? Or it's just, it's not true. So I'm really hoping that it's Miro or Claudio. But for the women's side of things, it's got to be Athena, man. It has to be, right?
Who would be? It has to be. I really think it has to be someone new for the women. I don't know. As we spoke about just now and in more detail on last week's episode, Miro seems to be the obvious returning choice. We know by all accounts he's healthy. He's just had some side projects going on.
Yeah.
For the women, to your point, Brad, I'm just like racking my brain trying to think of who is already on the roster and would be returning in this spot.
Nobody.
No name is coming to mind. Whereas Athena has been that free agent and I think would need to beat Britt Baker in that match. But then if we get Athena versus Tony, I think Tony is arguably the favorite to win this whole tournament. But if she goes up against Athena, hence why this match would probably rule, I would just be I don't know how I would predict that match.
I think I'm revising my pick because I really want to pick Tony to win it all, and I did last week.
Me too.
I'm taking Ruby.
Wow.
Ruby's been here for a minute, and she hasn't really done a lot. And I feel like this is the perfect way to give Ruby her spotlight and to really elevate her in the company. Ruby didn't need that coming in, but now I kind of feel like she's been sort of an afterthought. And I think winning the Owen would really do something to elevate her, where Tony is just finding her footing in AEW.
Yes.
And Sheeta's been champ. Riho's been champ. Red Velvet isn't there yet as a character. She's literally a sidekick right now. So I don't think that's going to happen. And it's the same thing with Jamie. We knew that wasn't going to happen because she's a sidekick to Dr. Britt Baker, DMD, who also doesn't need it. So the only example there is then the Joker, and you're going to have the Joker win the Owen. I don't think so. So I feel like Ruby is the clear pick at this point after doing some business model thinking about it versus who do I think is the best talent or the most talented or most athletic or the best whatever. And it's like, what am I doing? These are all characters. Why am I thinking of it as though this is a fair fight or like a Haas battle is like they're actually going to Haas somebody out? If Riho went in there and actually fought Jamie Hayter, Jamie would beat the shit out of Riho in real life. Like, just get her hands on her, just beat her to death. Nyla would do the same thing to everybody, except Jade. Jade could probably yeet everybody into the sun. Mm-hmm. So I just except Thunder Rosa, a shoot fighter, and Ty Conti, who could probably kill everybody with kicks. Yeah. So it's just
and you probably don't want to mess around with Serena Deeb.
I was gonna say like Marina Shafir.
Marina Shafir. Yeah, the problem.
Jake Hager and Marina Shafir could probably handle the entire roster together.
Right. I have two final thoughts on this. One, going back to what you said, you mentioned Jade. I wonder if, in my mind, I do not foresee a world in which Jade does not defend the TBS title at Double or Nothing. I think that would just be criminal of Tony Khan. I would even argue promotional malpractice if Jade is not on that card. I wonder if her challenger at Double or Nothing is in this tournament. I wonder if maybe since Chris Statlander is facing Red Velvet, maybe it's a new Chris Statlander versus Jade. Maybe it's Hikaru Shida versus Jade. So my point here is I wonder if a potential favorite to win it all, they're going to swerve us, and that person ends up getting that TBS match against Jade at the Pape. Final thought for the Joker. Do you think there's any chance this could be perhaps a talent from New Japan or another promotion like an Impact, and maybe this is just a one-off appearance and Britt takes the victory?
Yeah, but
maybe it's not Athena.
A lot. Maybe it's Deanna comes back for a match, or maybe we get Chelsea Green, who's wanted to work in the promotion at one point because she's worked everywhere else. And there's a lot of possibilities there. But I've been thinking about it. But it's like with New Japan, they're not going to stick somebody from New Japan in there because nobody knows them. It's going to be a big wet fart if they do that. Like it just is. I hate to say that, but that would be like all the complaints about AEW catering to the hardcores. Correct. We want that shit. Like, if the casuals over on USA Network and Fox, okay, I can watch that any day of the week and be invested. Bianca rules. I don't need to know it doesn't need to be Bianca Belair against Emi Sakura. Like, I don't need that. I need Bianca and Sasha. I need elevated big names on that network. And here I want to see the best wrestlers. There I want to see the best characters. Simple as that.
And Brad, may I add that we get to see Bianca Belair live. July 3rd, the Tucson Arena.
Wait.
I think this is the official our message to our audience. This is the first time anyone is hearing this outside of our friend groups in real life. We're going to see WWE live Sunday, July 3rd, Tucson, Arizona. This is happening, my friend.
Mo, Jabari, probably not Warren, but Warren. We need credentials. I don't know if you could if you can get us those and maybe a limo for the event with that 19 media credit card. It would be much appreciated. Otherwise, we'll have to comp it and get paid later. And I hate doing that every time we use the jet. So I don't know if they actually have a press junket for Sunday Stunner.
Yeah,
pretty confident there's not going to be anything there.
Yeah, but the advertised talent, and it's interesting. You spoke about Roman. I know. Then we'll get back onto our AEW ship here, but. It's interesting that you and I spoke about Roman Reigns on air last week in the reported news that he's going to have a lighter schedule moving forward. He is not advertised for this July show, but the American Nightmare Cody Rhodes is. Drew McIntyre, we mentioned the EST Bianca Belair, Becky Lynch. I think it's going to be a fun night, man. I can't wait.
And they haven't mentioned opponents, so we don't know who we're actually going to see at the event. So but we're going to see a lot of great talent there, and I'm pumped. Another thing we didn't talk about is that the weekend we had to record early because we were driving up to Michigan on the van ride to Flutown. The Malcolm Bivens take about Malcolm needing to go up to the main roster and then like The next day we left, we had already recorded, already uploaded and scheduled it to publish at our normal time. Malcolm had already been released from the WWE. So whatever.
Yeah. I need him as the mouthpiece for the baddies.
What I was just going to say.
Clearly smart Mark Sterling. We saw some friction this week on Rampage in particular. Like, man, just please.
But Mark,
Tony Khan, give us
yes.
Stokely Hathaway, formerly known as Malcolm Bivens. That would just make my heart so happy if we get him to join Jade and company.
Smart Mark Sterling has 75 clients in AEW. He doesn't need to be Jade's. Like, at this point, I can see her absolutely firing Smart Mark because it isn't working out or whatever.
I think they're laying the groundwork.
I completely agree, man. I don't really have anything to add there. It's time. I really want to see Bivens in AEW managing the baddies. It makes all the sense in the world.
All the sense.
Even though at that stand-up special he said he was not interested in going back to wrestling. I feel like that was absolute work.
Absolute work. Yeah. As they say, pro wrestlers are the greatest liars in the world. It's a compliment.
Yeah, they are. Some of the greatest liars in the world, Tyler, competed over a decade ago. Almost 2 decades ago at this point.
It's true.
Tyler, it's time for Back in the Day. And when we come back from our music here, I'd like you to set it up because, oh boy, was this a match.
And now it's time to get old school. Prepare yourselves for Back in the Day.
Yeah, Brad, let's jump right into it, man. So I have notes on my phone. You've seen these, as has Twitter. So some quick background. I texted Brad a few days ago, and I said, man, we have to choose this match for our Back in the Day on GI. We are going to be discussing the X Division Championship Triple Threat match at TNA's Unbreakable 2005, live from the Impact Zone at Universal Studios in Orlando, Florida. This triple threat saw champion Christopher Daniels, the Fallen Angel, defend against Samoa Joe and AJ Styles. And Brad, as we said, this was 05, so this was like prime years for these guys, or these guys just entering their prime. This was Daniels, this was Joe, this was AJ at their peak powers. I am so excited to hear your thoughts on this, man. I don't know if you just want me to start rattling off what I got, or do you want to add some thoughts before we jump right into it?
Daniel's entrance rules. I'd never seen it before in TNA. So his entrance was incredible. I'd never seen it.
Good.
Joe's. He's just coming down the tunnel. He's got a towel. AJ in red. I forgot he was in red for so long. Yeah. Was he even in blue until New Japan? I don't even know if
No, it was primarily in TNA because I was an AJ Mark in TNA. I had the action figures. I had the AJ Styles DVD. He was my guy. He primarily, the colorways primarily for him were the red we saw here, but he also definitely had like black, white, blue. Yeah, those are kind of his primary colors. Yeah. So he definitely had blue in the arsenal for sure. Very similar to his WWE logo.
Got it.
Yeah.
I popped for the same spots that you did. I
got the notes right here.
Yeah, I saw them. Bro, the very start of this match of Daniels telling them, you can't do this, this belongs to me, and them just kicking the shit out of him. Literally taking turns, kicking as hard as they can into Daniels' back. Yes. And then Daniels finally firing up, getting straight up and going, stop kicking me. Took me out. Out.
Hot crowd as well.
Crowd was incredible.
This was the
How many people were there? Like 2,000 people?
Exactly. Yeah. Total Impact Zone.
A small arena, but
it was. Every fan was clearly invested.
Yes.
And what you said, I forget what match we covered, but you said this phrase weeks ago, and it's has stuck with me, particularly while rewatching this. This match was all gas, no breaks. I was just marveling. By the time we hit the 15 to 20 minute mark, I was like, yo, this is like, they are not taking much time off in this match. Of course, you have your spots where like they're injured and you know, they're building up, like, let's just bask in the moment of that cool move we did. Yeah. But man, it was just like clockwork. Like, you just turn around and
the pace was incredible.
The pace was incredible. The stamina, the cardio, I was just marveling at it.
It was the best three-way dance I've ever seen.
Me too.
Like, far and away. I don't even think anything was close.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, this is the best TNA match I think of all time. But pantheon of triple threats. I admittedly I didn't do my research on the greatest triple threats of all time, which
it was this one. This is the one.
But yeah, I can think of, there was a really cool. Once it was at the Royal Rumble, it was Seth Rollins versus John Cena versus Brock Lesnar. Oh, yeah, that's right. A few years back, that match ruled. This was just something special, man. I popped for the spot you did with Daniel standing up and saying, stop kicking me, and then they don't respect his wishes. But after that, Brad, I put this in chronological order. After that, we saw a springboard shooting star press from AJ. So Daniels and Joe are fighting on the outside. AJ springboard, shooting stars them. Incredible. I want to ask your thoughts on this spot, though, Brad, because this was one of my favorites. Underrated spot. Do you remember when Daniels monkey flipped AJ? They're inside the ring at this point. Daniels monkey flips AJ, and then AJ goes right into a Hurricane Rana on Samoa Joe.
It was incredible.
That was incredible.
There were a couple of spots with AJ and Daniels, like that spot right before Samoa Joe did the spiral dive, where
that was the spot for me in the match.
My God. I don't know if that had to have been the spot, only because Samoa Joe was almost 300 pounds at that point and just rolled through like he didn't weigh anything.
Absolutely.
He went through that the top two ropes, right? Like he dove through those.
And the
spun sideways, spinning.
And the sea parted. Like, he hit those guys perfectly, where they just each go their separate ways after he hits
But that springboard shooting star press that AJ did, though, was the perfect landing. That was the prettiest thing I've ever seen. Yeah. It was perfect. Except his spiral dive. His literal spiral dive into like shoulder first. I don't know how he didn't break his neck. Shooting off the top rope into Samoa Joe, who had Daniels in a submission.
That's right.
Just unbelievable.
So good. I also
all the Joe slaps. I popped for those too. For every time he did it.
Yeah. So snug. If you love Samoa Joe now, this was Samoa Joe 17 years ago. If I'm doing my math correctly, this was just man. The hair was looking great. He was agile as can be. I should mention, in terms of context for this match, these guys were not only physically at their peak, but in terms of talent and story wise. Daniels came into this match as the longest reigning ex-champ in company history. Samoa Joe entered undefeated, no blemishes on his TNA record.
Yeah.
And AJ Styles was the face of TNA. Not only the biggest baby face in the company at this time, but he was the guy in this budding promotion. So this was just the perfect combination of so many factors, Brad. I did put in my notes here that we saw a Samoan Claymore. So Samoa Joe, we love Drew McIntyre here, but I feel like Samoa Joe may have been the originator of the Claymore. And I didn't realize that. Fantastic moves from him in this match.
And he got a great muscle buster in.
Phenomenal muscle buster.
That muscle buster on AJ looked painful.
Yes.
It always does, but that one in particular, they were laying their shit in this match. They were not holding back. Everybody was hitting everybody just ferociously in this match. I have in my notes the Death Valley driver was insane.
I was just about to mention that. The one from Daniels on Joe.
Yes.
And Daniels is a slender guy.
Because AJ got him up. Daniels got him up. Like, holy hell. How is this happening?
Brad, I think I need to rescind. Joe, I said earlier, the Joe twisting suicide dive, I said that was my number one. But my if that's my number one, my 1A is AJ Styles getting Samoa Joe up in the torture rack.
I cannot believe he racked him.
Time literally froze It just stopped for me in that moment.
Yes. I thought he was going for another Death Valley driver. Right. And I was like, oh, they're going to do the spot. And then he just started bouncing him. And I was like, holy shit. It's a 300-pound man in the torture rack and a guy that weighs 218.
And it looked like AJ could have kept him up there for another 10 seconds.
Yes.
It was not a struggle.
No. And it was like 20 minutes into the match.
Yes.
That's crazy.
Yeah, I would need a water break at that point. Finally, I put Christopher Daniels. He had this move, and he still does it, obviously. But I've always loved his best moonsault ever, the BME.
Yes, the BME.
It was beautifully landed, as you alluded to. What else? Oh, for TNA, they had, I think you'll pop for this, on the ring skirt, they were promoting Gretchen Wilson's All Jacked Up album. So I kind of got transported back to when that was the thing. Although I never listened to the album, I thought that was kind of cool. We had the 6-sided ring, which we'll actually talk about in a later segment. And finally, before we go to the finish of the match, I have always thought that Don West and Mike Tenay were an underrated commentary duo. Are they the fanciest or the most polished? Maybe not. But when both guys bring that level of enthusiasm, I just thought it was fantastic. Don West, some two quotes that I had here. I think Don West said that the crowd was chanting, "This is awesome." Yeah. And Don West said, "You're damn right. This is awesome." And, or that may have been Mike Tenay. I might be flip-flopping it. And then one of them also said during the match, "This is one of the greatest wrestling matches you will ever see." Yeah. So like everyone was recognizing in the moment, oh, this is even greater than our wildest expectations.
Yes. If you're listening to this or watching right now, go find this match. It's on YouTube. You will have 650 ads while you watch this, but it will be worth your time. It will be absolutely worth your time.
It will. Yeah. And then Brad, for the finish of this match, AJ picks up the victory. He countered the Angel's Wings from Christopher Daniels. So
that was
really
so
cool,
great.
Really cool pin, unexpected. AJ gets the 1, 2, 3, and he becomes a 5-time X Division champion. And the crowd goes home happy.
I loved that Daniels tried to win with the belt, and that he was it. Samoa Joe takes the belt from him,
right?
And while the ref is trying to pull the belt away, he catches an enziguri to the belt to the face.
Great enziguri, yes,
yes, absolutely incredible. So, totally worth the time. I love the finish. I love this match. This match was great. Thank you for picking it out for us this week. This was awesome.
Oh man, thank you for watching it and being willing to suffer through the numerous ads we got on YouTube. Please follow the show if you haven't already on Twitter. We linked the video on there at GIPod19. Of course, you can find Brad on there with his great takes during the week. He always brings the humor and brings the logic and just brings the family takes with Jess and Freya, and he's just a great follow, a top 5 follow. He's at Winduster. I am at Tyler J. McDowell. And Brad, I have a question too for you now.
Awesome. And if you catch us on Twitter today, you can also see me pointing out all of the shitty Lakers shill takes, which will be addressed later in the show.
That's a
go. I'm ready for your question.
That's a hell of a tease,
Mr. McDowell Blanket.
So I was not going to go another episode of Gimmick Infringement, risking us not talking about these next 2 individuals. Brad, this week we saw the unofficial formation, or maybe official formation of Hookhausen.
Oh my God, what has happened?
It happened. Time also stopped here in this moment. Time stopped in 2005 in Orlando. It also stopped this past week in Long Island, New York. So they're going to be on the pre-show for Double or Nothing. They are going to face Tony Nese and Smart Mark Sterling. I, like you, think this is the perfect pre-show match. I am as excited for this match as probably anything on the Double or Nothing card.
Me too.
Which is probably ridiculous.
I don't care.
But I just think it's going to deliver in so many ways.
Yeah, 100%.
My question for you, as always, I want your instant reaction because I know Danhausen is a legit favorite of yours, and you're partial to Hook as well. So instant thoughts.
Yes.
Hopefully we get an impression too. Instant thoughts on the handshake heard around the world between these guys. And then secondly, do you think they are an eventual tag team championship threat?
Threat, yes. Champs, no. I hope not. I don't want to see him be tag champs. I want to see him be in the mix, though. I want Danhausen costing matches, and I want Hook just killing people. I think it's the perfect way to get Hook his first losses because it doesn't have to be his fault. Dude, I already forgot the first part of your question. ADD.
Oh, just your instant reaction to
my instant reaction.
the handshake.
Huge pop, thunderous, yelling. I was up, man. I was up. Nobody checked on me this time. But I believe it was just me and Freya. So nobody was going to check on me. But holy hell, I was so pumped. I was so happy. I mean, I had bigger pop for me that he got squashed. That his entrance music
good.
His entrance music kicks ass.
Yeah, what were your thoughts on the presentation?
I thought it was perfect. Exactly what I wanted. Everybody was like, I hope they get tequila for it. And I was like, I hope they don't. I hope they get rights for it, because him coming out to tequila isn't fun. Him doing it in the middle of the match is what's fun. Like, that's the fun part. I can't wait for that, where he just does it and yells Danhausen instead of tequila.
Yeah, I saw that for the first time this week on YouTube. Actually, I finally saw the tequila.
I love that you're now catching up with why I love this dude for so long. I've been a Danhausen.
I was skeptical.
Well, because he doesn't look like a professional wrestler at all.
I was like, who the hell is this guy? And why is he like all of a sudden the darling of the internet? But you were on board well before anyone I know.
Yeah, I've been in love with this dude for about a year, maybe a year and a half. I don't even know. Like, basically when I started watching again, and I was like, oh my God, I'm very invested in wrestling now. I'm suddenly going down rabbit holes and watching old matches. And then there's these random videos that popped up when Warhorse came to AEW. I was trying to find out about Warhorse, and Danhausen popped up. So it was whenever Warhorse was on AEW. Okay. Yeah, it was that same time period where I was like, oh my God, Danhausen, when he's calling Davis to bring around his PT Cruiser to get his sacks of money from Dave Honor. And I just think it's such a great, simple gimmick. It's not too much. It's always consistent. It's just, I'm going to screw up a name. I don't know if he's going to call him Hook, or he'll call him like something else.
Great.
Or he'll call him Hook Taz or something.
Yeah.
Thinking that Taz is his last name. I can foresee that happening. Or he thinks Taz's last name is FTW or something. I can't wait to see what they do with that. Huge fan of this. Hook is the perfect foil for Danhausen. Danhausen never shuts up. Hook doesn't speak. It's perfect. Hook is ultra serious. I'm going to murder a guy. Danhausen is cursing people. And I love that on Twitter afterward, because I was absolutely going there to see what was happening on Twitter. Was Danhausen saying, well, I guess the curse worked, because he tried to curse Mark Sterling and it didn't work. But then Wardlow put him through a table in the next segment, and he was like, thank you, Mr. Wardlow. You're very nice. The curse seemed to work. And I was like, this is awesome. Because he's like, I still won after it, because they showed him having a handshake and he said Danhausen won because he got Hook. And it makes me go, did he allow himself to get murdered in the ring in order to lure Hook to his side?
Yeah, he's cerebral.
Yes, he absolutely is, which is why it's so great, because I think he really is cerebral, but he might just be Jack Sparrow and be that dumb and still win by incompetence. You know what I mean? Like, it's,
yes, I do,
I'm not sure which one it is. So I absolutely loved this. I can't wait to see where they go, because I don't know what they're going to do. It's just a fun thing they're doing. This is like the fun part of professional wrestling. Yes, I want to see the matches that matter, that have stakes, that have blood, that have meaning. I want to see some crazy high spots. I want to see the women making people go, oh, women can wrestle their asses off. But I also want to see silly comedy shit every once in a while.
Absolutely. Well, you
all in, man.
I am too. You mentioned high spots, and I got to mention this now because I don't have it on my question list. Darby, the Darby Swanton off the ladder
chairs,
this week.
Onto Jeff.
I don't know how I didn't have this on my list. This would have absolutely been the biggest omission from what did we miss from the week, even if that's WWE centric. If we did not mention that on this episode, just dedicating the next 90 seconds for this. Brad, that was the damnedest spot I have seen in a long time.
Same.
That was just, I got chills watching that. I know we spoke with some friends, and I think you and I were higher on the match than maybe some of our friends. But man, I really enjoyed Jeff versus Darby. I, like some of our people, some of the people in our life got worried about like, oh man, this could lead to some serious injury for both guys.
Just at Mike.
At Mike Steph.
Just at Mike
We're
Steph.
talking
Just
about
at
Mike
him.
Steph.
It's like some of our friends. Fuck out of here.
We're talking about one friend.
About,
we have one friend.
We got one friend. Yes.
Brad, I just want to say I just have so much appreciation for, and Jeff did some wild stuff too, obviously.
Yes.
But that Darby Swanton, that was breathtaking, stunned.
It was perfectly landed too. Jeff was there to catch him and keep him safe, and still like caught him and sort of jumped to sell the spot.
But Darby ate those chairs.
Darby ate all the chairs. The only part that seemed to catch the chairs there from Jeff was his leg. Yeah. And I was a little worried that he broke his leg. And then he did a swanton onto the steel steps, which just went and bent. And I was like, good, sweet Jesus. How many of those does he have left in him? Because that is not a young person doing that.
No, but Jeff picked up the win, which was a surprise to me. I think Adam Cole is beating either of these guys, but Jeff won.
I don't know. I kind of want to see Jeff beat Adam Cole. We
got to get Hardys versus Bucks though, right? At the Pape.
Yeah, we'll get that. Yeah, that's a good point. That's a good point.
And Adam Cole, you would think Adam Cole needs a featured match. This tournament, man, it's just there's so many storylines. I have no idea how it's going to end. Miro versus Adam Cole.
Yeah, that's a good point. Like Adam Cole not being on the card wouldn't make any sense.
There's no way.
So, especially after having 2 world championship matches back to back, I don't need him doing that again, though. Like, I don't need to see him in that title picture for a while. I don't want to see him wrestle Hangman for the title again.
Right. Well, the money is in the trios, right? Yeah. Undisputed versus.
Once Kenny is back, I think that's when they break up, and then 100%. It's Undisputed against the Elite, 100%. Right? Like it. Yeah. I don't know if that's for the trios titles.
I think so,
because you have Death Triangle in there.
It's true. I think that's the all-out trios title.
House of Black, though.
Yeah, they're going to be the first challengers.
I feel there's going to be. I feel like the Owen's going to end, and then the trios tournament's going to start. Yeah, it has to be, right? Like for the next Pape.
Yep.
And I can't wait for that. My God, there's so many great trios in there. Even the Gun Club could be fun in there.
Yeah, they're
like throwing Billy. Like they're going to lose right away, but I think it would be a lot of fun to see them do it.
Yeah, and this budding quartet. There was just so much to talk about from the week in AEW.
Oh my God, there's so much. Yes,
the budding quartet. This last thing I'll say: the budding quartet of the Gun Club with the Acclaimed.
Oh, I don't
hate it. I kind of love the D-Generation X references.
Oh, I love leaning into it, and then him saying all of those things suck. He's like, I was just thinking maybe we could do something like this. I got 2. Nope. No, that's terrible. We're not doing that. Don't say that. Yeah. And then the Acclaim say their line, and then he's like, "That's the best thing I've ever heard." And it's just, it's all so good. It's all so good.
I completely agree with you.
All right, man. I don't know if I'm going to agree with you here because I don't know what's coming. It's time. It's been a while. Been a minute for Hot Take Ty. Take us away.
Now it's time for Hot Take Time. Spicy.
So, Brad, this is what I teased earlier. This is a TNA-related hot take. I was a big TNA fan back in the day, particularly the early years of TNA, and then the latter part, I kind of fell off. But my hot take this week is that I loved the six-sided ring in TNA. I think a lot of people were critical of it and applauded when they went back to a traditional four-sided ring. But the six-sided ring was... I think I had the toy version of it, number one. So I was really committed to the gimmick. And then number two, just the presentation of it felt different to me in a good way. So us watching the Unbreakable Triple Threat match back, I just started feeling a lot of nostalgia for this layout. And I think the criticism I've heard is it makes TNA look cheap or not on the level as, say, WWE, and hence when they went up against WWE, they did not do so well. I would completely disagree. I thought the six-sided ring was dope. I thought it presented just a totally different element to the matches and how the matches were worked. I think Eric Bischoff has been critical of it. He was in TNA for a time and said, yeah, that was a bad move for them to have a six-sided ring. But I really love the six-sided ring, man. I thought it was just awesome. And frankly, I wish it would come back.
Man, I don't know if that's a hot take. I agree with you. I love
Really? I thought people were down on it.
No, I love the potential of the six-sided ring.
Yeah.
It's different. I think it should be busted out. Oh, this is okay. So this is not my question. My question, to no surprise, is damn near identical to what you asked. That's why I was going like this. What is happening right now? Because you started with Tony and Riho and Ruby and the women. And my first question is about the women. And then you're like, we got to talk about Hookhausen. And my question too is about Hookhausen. But okay, we have Blackpool Combat Club and we have all this stuff.
Yes.
You know what's coming, right?
I think so.
Are we getting, because with the Jericho Appreciation Society, Wheeler is going to go to the Super Juniors and he's not going to be around. It's going to end up being 5-on-5. William Regal is there. Do you understand what I'm thinking here?
I do. You're predicting a Regal, Lord Regal at Double or Nothing.
I am saying something.
Okay, I'm ready.
We're not getting War Games. I believe he's going to be announcing Blood and Guts.
Blood and Guts.
Right? Yeah. Like it has to be.
Doubt.
And it has to be Regal. It has to be.
I am 100% on board. Do you think we're definitely getting that? Do you think that happens? That can't happen at Double or Nothing, though, right? Blood and Guts is its own big show, its own Dynamite. What do you think?
I want to see it at Double or Nothing.
Really?
Personally,
okay.
I would love to see it on the pay-per-view, but it probably has to be its own thing.
Yeah.
Maybe a post Double or Nothing Dynamite would make the most sense, because
maybe we get a traditional 5-on-5 at the pay-per-view and then they have to settle it.
If they're going to do the 5-on-5 there, I feel like they don't need to settle it with them, because they've been building LAX and Jericho Appreciation for so long. That Blackpool Combat Club, I think, could just be like, we like blood. Let's just do it. Yeah. I don't think they need to settle anything. They're like, we're here to make you bleed. I don't give a shit. Let's fight. And I could see Mox and Danielson going out and kicking heads in. And because Jericho likes to work snug, Danielson's not going to work soft. So oh my God, injected right into my veins. I could even see Wheeler Yuta showing up for that. And in place of Eddie Kingston, who's still too burned to compete. Mm-hmm. And Eddie's on the outside with Regal. I maybe Jericho Appreciation gets a new person, a new member to help him out or something.
Oh, wow. Wow. It's a plot twist.
I just want to see it. Here's why I don't think we'll get a 5-on-5 at Double or Nothing. It's Jericho. Jericho's always going to have the big match, the gimmick match, that kind of thing. There always has to be the Minnesota Street bullshit. There has to be the Stadium Stampede, the Orange Marmalade fiasco, the whatever other thing that he's got going on. It's always got to be a Jericho thing, and I'm fine with it. I'm here for it, because I like that Jericho does that. It's a Labors of Jericho. It's a whatever it might be, like it's for custody of a kid. I don't really care what it is. Jericho's going to have his match, and unless he goes like, it's going to be a Jericho Appreciation fight, and what it means is we can only dress like former iterations of me. I don't even know what it is. It'll be something stupid. I just think Regal comes out and says blood and guts, or blood and guts.
100%. Yes.
And then we get blood and guts there, because that they might be able to dual purpose that and use it as a cage for a match. I'm not really sure what they do with that, but I would love to see it. I don't know. I feel like the vignette packages would be the perfect timing to bring in an extra ring. So I don't know. We'll see. I would love to see it there. I don't know if we'll see it there. I just know that at some point Regal's announcing Blood and Guts, and hopefully it's a Double or Nothing. So we're moving quite along pretty well here. I'm trying to make sure that our podcast stays consistent or ends up being shorter than normal. But we're on question 2. Okay, dude. Our predictions have been pretty spot on. We've had some good ones.
We have.
You and I discussed Hookhausen and then Tony Nese with a partner, and you said, "Oh, I hope it's Smart Mark Sterling." And we said it's the perfect spot for it would be the buy-in.
We did.
Boom. All of that is true. All of that is happening. I think we nailed it. So I'm going to ask you for another prediction. What is your bold prediction for the rest of this calendar year in AEW?
Oh, wow. One bold prediction in particular.
One bold prediction.
Oh, man.
It can't be men's and women's. It has to just be one.
That is tough. I am going to say, okay, I think I got one. That's relatively bold. I'm going to predict that CM Punk wins at Double or Nothing, but I believe he loses the title at All Out or a show not too long after All Out. I think he drops the title. I think his title reign is going to be the shortest in AEW history. I think hopefully we get a heel turn during the match against Hangman.
So.
He wins, and this is not my original thought. I think this has been highly publicized around the community. CM Punk turns heel, wins at Double or Nothing, and then we get a heel Summer of Punk. But then coming out of that, again, at All Out or in the weeks that follow, I don't know if there's going to be a special Dynamite somewhere in that September, October timeframe. I think Punk drops around there. I think his title reign is going to rule, and something that will be so surreal. Like, if you would have told us we were going to get this, if you would have told me this in 2019 that we were going to get a CM Punk heel world title reign in this new company, I would have told you you're lying. Even though it's going to rule, I think he's going to end up being the shortest champion in company history. Do you have a bold prediction, my friend? Because you know this could be the start of something special for us.
Yes. I don't have any in particular, but what I wanted to say was that by the end of the year, I'm thinking winter is coming. Is Wyndham. If we get Wyndham in AEW, it will be at the end of the year. It will be a big signing only because I don't know what month it is, but I know 2023 is when AEW's TV deal is up. I would imagine it would be October, since I think that's when they started. So if they could put a deal in place that is like a guaranteed amount with an increase coming with the new TV deal, I think that would make the most sense, but that might come earlier if the streaming rights deal happens before then for ROH and potentially old episodes of Dynamite going to a platform like Discovery or HBO Max, which I can't imagine isn't on the horizon here. So I'm going to pick Wyndham before the end of the year. Will be in AEW pending a long-term TV deal for AEW. And I can't wait to get into that. I really want to talk to people about TV contracts and stuff, but man, I think that's coming, man. That's going to be my bold prediction, because the other ones are easy ones, right? Like they're more cross-promotional interactions. I think maybe they do another thing with Impact, the way that Impact is going right now. I think it would make sense to have Impact talent facing off against AEW talent again, or even ROH Impact talent, getting like more Gresham and Josh Alexander, or imagine Josh Alexander and anybody that's in the top of AEW right now. Hell, Moose and Keith Lee. Give me that right now. I would love that. Sami Callihan against Eddie Kingston.
Yes.
I mean,
yes, please sign me up for that.
Yes. I could absolutely see that happen. So, but I don't think it's going to happen this year. I think it'll happen in the future, but I'm going to say Wyndham in AEW by the end of the year.
I love it. Sign me up.
Oh man. But that's in the future. And Tyler, speaking of the future and the present, it's time to find out about the state of 19 media.
Let's go.
And now it's time for the state of the biz.
Mo, good friend of the show and fellow 19 Media Group member, dropped new episodes for both of his shows. Check out Hip Hop Hidden Gems as he breaks down Lauryn Hillsong's Zealots. Also be sure to catch Hidden Gems Golf as Mo shares his AT&T Byron Nelson analysis.
19 Media co-founder Jabari Davis released the latest episode of NBA Finals File, his new iHeart podcast project with NBA vet Robert Horry. Check out their latest episodes as they relive the 1994 NBA Finals between the New York Knicks and Houston Rockets.
Speaking of Jabari, you can check out the debut episode of the Jab Step with JP. He and former host Jabari Davis discussed the latest hot button issues emanating from the NBA playoffs.
And then speaking of JP and James, the fellas, we were smooth with that. The fellas over at Dunk Tales released a new episode covering their most newsworthy storylines from the ongoing second round of the NBA playoffs. What's next for the Sixers? Will the Warriors make it back to the finals? Hopefully not. Go Suns. Tap in to hear what the guys think.
Our dude Desmond Powell dropped a new episode of Hip to the Games. Listen in as he breaks down the classic Pete Rock CL Smooth record, They Reminisce Over You.
Blipped in, an MCU-inspired podcast from our dude, Alan Ramage, is back. Check out the latest episode to get your superhero fix.
Not sure if he's talking about Moon Knight anymore, but that show ruled. Loved it on Disney+. Steven and Malik dropped a new episode of Close Up Magic. Tap in to hear their thoughts on all things Orlando Magic, including a Jalen Suggs conspiracy theory and Cole Anthony taking the next step.
Finally, last but certainly not least, shout out to Mike Steff, good friend of GI and fellow podcaster. Check out his show, The Salty Thoughts of Donnie Ooh, for detailed and very passionate commentary on the latest news and just about everything: sports, professional wrestling, and New York politics.
And his love for the Hardys. Tyler, I think that was probably the best version of that we've done. I'm going to go.
Yeah, that was smooth as butter.
My favorite part is that you were visibly excited that I hit Desmond's pop with Hip to the Games. It's not like I didn't know how to say it. I just wanted to say it poorly because it's funnier that way. It's just funnier, whiter, whatever. It's just really funny to do it that way, and to watch you fist pump when I did it, that almost took me out. It made me stammer. I got through it, and then I was like, "Listen."
It was a test
because I saw your fist bump go up, and I got absolutely thrown off by that.
This is a great place to remind our listeners that we do have video. So in case you're listening and not watching this, we are on YouTube. If you visit the 19 Media Group YouTube channel, you will find us there. So watch as we often pop each other on air and yet try to remain composed and deliver great content to you.
If you want to catch us on YouTube, you can come because we are great entertainers. Violently chewing gum.
But yes, the invisible gum. I knew you were cooking up something good.
Daddy
took off
the Daddy Magic hard nipples spot.
So
I was not great expecting that at all.
Came out of nowhere.
Oh yeah, absolute left field. And I was like, what turns me on and makes
my what turns hard. Me on? Yeah,
he was like, you know what turns me on? And then I don't know what he said, and then I just remember hard nipples.
Yeah,
it's stuck.
I think all he said was me being able to be in the Jericho Appreciation Society next to one of the. I think it was super simple. What I love, and you've mentioned this on a previous episode. What I love is his voice before Judas. It's
just like this, and it's sports entertainers. He's got that very long pause and entertainers. It's like he doesn't use his mouth at all when he says it.
And like you brought up last week, it's hard to track. We know he's from Canada, but it's a New York or Boston accent.
It's like New York, Boston, Midwest. I can't really figure it out. But it's probably the Canadian part of it. Because they'll say things like this. And this sounds like the neighbor on that 70s show. I was like, yep, we're I can't even do it like Don's
great reference,
dad.
Though. Yeah.
He sounds a little bit like that. Yes. Sounds a little bit like that. He also sounds like Miss Arkins, my keyboard teacher from high school. Be like, we're gonna type on the computer today there, Bradford. She would say shit like that to me in class.
Bradford.
Yes. And sometimes Daddy Magic will get in there and he'll say things like that, and he'll speak like this, and it sounds a little bit like Arkins, right? Like it sounds a little bit like, I don't even know how to describe it. It doesn't make any sense because he'll yell.
I'm appreciating all of this. Yeah.
He'll just go back and he'll just be like, I got something to say to you. and I'm not going to talk about it no more. And Jericho is a sports entertainer. And his eyes get crazy. I can't do the accent at all because I don't know what it is, bro. It's Bostcago is the accent. Like I can't figure it out.
It's a mystery.
Yeah, but
Brad,
I love what they're doing with him, by the way. I just wanted to throw that out there.
I love everything going on. The
Hit
fact that
me with question 3, bro.
The fact he's getting constant TV time is amazing.
Yes.
What's also amazing is my third and final question for you. I hope it's amazing at least.
Let's do it.
So I wanted to make sure I had this ready on my phone. I want to first give credit to host of the Grapsity podcast on Fightful, Will Washington. He had this tweet that completely inspired my final question for you. He tweeted this out about 23 hours ago. He wrote on Twitter, Adam Page has officially tied and will pass Chris Jericho's, love our transition here, Chris Jericho's AEW World title reign at 182 days, keeping Chris as the shortest reigning AEW World Champ in history. In 182 days, Adam Page has defended the title 6 times. Chris Jericho had defended the title 4 times. My final question for you, Brad. I think we've broached this subject before, but I certainly hope I haven't asked you this direct question. We've had 4 world champions in AEW history on the men's side. In order, we had Chris Jericho, Jon Moxley, Kenny Omega, and now Hangman Page. I want to know officially, now that we've had a decent amount of time as having Hangman as champion, how would you power rank those 4 world title reigns from
it's easy.
From 4 to 1, 4 meaning the bottom of your totem pole, 1 meaning the best, and why?
Well, the bottom of the totem pole is the best. That's how totem poles work. But I do want to start at the bottom of the totem pole since that is the best.
Let's go. However you want to give it to me.
The order is the easiest. It's the order in which they came, but reversed.
Wow.
Easy. Done.
Okay.
Hangman, Kenny, Moxley, Jericho. In that order.
Wow. Are you cool with having Jericho at the bottom?
Yes.
Or the top?
Moxley's was.
However, this analogy works with totem poles. Are you cool with
Jericho is my least favorite reign.
Really?
Well, yeah, because it wasn't that good. He had good moments in it, but his moments weren't from the matches. Like Mox, I can't put him above Kenny. There's no way I could put him above Kenny.
Sure.
But I also don't want to put him below Jericho because I feel like he defended it more. It's just I also I don't know, man. Mox carried it through most of the pandemic, or at least a huge part of it. He took it from Jericho, who was the placeholder.
Right.
This is the part that I think of with Jericho's matches as champ. Kenny to win. A little bit of the bubbly. Literally nothing else. The rest of his title reign is pretty forgettable. Moxley, kind of the same. He had some really good matches in there, but it wasn't necessarily like his most memorable match, in my opinion. It was his match where he dropped it to Kenny. The
MJF match was kind of forgettable.
Oh, the MJF match, though, I do love the ending of that match. So I love the stipulation. So like, I really liked that feud. Was a ton of fun. So I just think his run was better than Jericho's. Kenny, he was the belt collector, but nobody's been better than Hangman. Hangman has had the best matches. He's super hot. Like when the appeal to the larger base, the casual fan, which I don't really give a shit about casual fans. I like what I like. Who's going to a wrestling show that's casual anything? You don't accidentally show up there. So the crowd exploding every time Hangman's music hits. You just hear and then that's all you hear.
Yeah.
And then the crowd goes nuts.
Ghost Town Triumph.
Ghost Town Triumph. It's so good.
Over. Yeah.
So Hangman's had the best reign so far. He beat Danielson twice. One of them was an hour long. One of them was a half an hour long. The hour long one went to a time limit draw. It was incredible. He wrestled Adam Cole twice. He's wrestling CM Punk. He's had other matches within that. I think he do a tag with somebody. I can't remember. And on top of that, he's who's the other one I'm forgetting? It was Lance Archer. The great match with Lance. Incredible match with Lance.
Yes. Texas.
So I actually think it's not even close. And his has been in such a short period of time where he's
Right.
just had
And
a ton of great matches.
and there was so much skepticism
Yeah.
about what would he do once he got the belt. I think everyone and their mother knew Kenny Omega was going to kill it, and of course he would have a reign as top guy. But there was a lot of skepticism in the community about, like, is Hangman just going to drop it in a month to Danielson? The money, one would argue, the money was in full gear, end the show with Hangman on top. Dark Order, celebrating when Dark Order was a thing. We haven't talked about them in so long.
I know.
That the money was in that,
Just
and then
sad
he can drop it in a month to Bryan. But man, he is far, and I love Hangman. He has far exceeded my expectations of what his reign would be, and frankly, I think I agree with you in the order. I did not believe I was going to put his reign over Kenny's, but the man has delivered. As you said, he is over like Rover. And I've just been so impressed with what he's done with the belt.
My favorite match during Kenny's reign as a title defense was the non-title match he had with Danielson. Like, that was my favorite.
Oh yeah,
match.
at Arthur Ashe. I mean, that was,
oh my God,
that was epic.
I love how because Kenny was always super over the top and like goofing around. Not that match. He showed up and he was ultra serious for the start of that and remained that way through the whole match. That match was incredible.
Yeah.
One of my favorite matches of all time.
In the venue, it opened the show.
Oh my God. The crowd was so, they didn't even do anything and the crowd was going crazy.
Yeah. It was the classic. This is awesome.
They're going to run it back when he's healthy again.
I was just about to say, almost messing my audio here. I was just about to say, the best part is, we are going to get this. Bryan,
I don't think
Bryan
we get that
versus
first.
Kenny too.
I don't think we get that first, though. You know what we're going to get first is when Kenny's back. The first matchup between them is going to be the Elite and the Blackpool Combat Club, and at some point they're going to end up in the ring together, staring at each other, and the crowd's going to lose their minds.
True.
Cannot wait for that.
That's good.
Lord Regal in this. Oh God, because Regal and Callis are going to get into it.
Oh man,
I
didn't think about that.
I'm excited just thinking about it, man.
Yeah. Tony Khan hired this man.
That was a great question, man. Like, I'm going to say it's the order in which they came, but reverse it.
That's easy. I appreciate you.
Okay, let's is this it? This is my final question, right? Like, this is
it is
3. Okay.
Yeah.
I took my glasses off. Let me squint. Oh, okay.
The glasses are back on, listeners.
They are, because I don't want to squint off screen. I want you to see my whole face. I want all of 19 Media to see my face when I read this question. All of it. Every one of you. Let's call out 19 Media today. This afternoon, I made a comment that lit a fuse about cheering for the Suns because of all the Lakers shills. And there are a lot of Lakers shills in 19 Media because they're all over my timeline right now. All of them. Every one of them. Reveling in other people's misery. Why? Because your team sucks. I'm a Pistons fan. You don't know pain. You don't know pain like I know pain. Tyler knows more pain than any of us. And you're out here reveling. If you can compare the Lakers shills, that's shills, in 19 Media to a faction in AEW, what would that faction be and why?
Hell of a question. I did not. Absolute curveball city. You did not prepare me for this, which I love and deeply respect. Because I love how you said AEW, because this is an AEW centric podcast. I was going to hit you with right to censor,
or oh my God,
just because like that's annoying heel group.
Okay, let's go any faction from
AEW,
any time period ever that's not WWE or WWF.
Yeah, no, I'm actually going to fulfill your original question.
AEW, got it. Okay,
I'm gonna give you
or it could be period specific too. So like if you want to go early Dark Order, you can.
Oh no, well said. It's just too painful because I'm really worried about where they're at now. But I'm gonna answer your question. Yeah. Our colleagues in 19 Media, about half the roster who are absolutely Lakers shills. I am going to say that they are the sports entertainers. They are the Jericho Appreciation Society. But if the JAS wasn't good, if they were just annoying without any of the entertainment, these are actually good people. If they were annoying without any of the entertainment value that you and I have come to love in JAS, that if they were devoid of the joy and the fun, that would be our Lakers Shills in 19. Absolutely. Sports entertainers, 1000%. Do you agree with me?
Yeah, absolutely. This was almost a loaded question. The Laker Appreciation Society. Yes,
the Laker, yes.
Yeah.
Money. That is
LAS.
going in the Twitter description for this. Money. LAS.
All right.
Money.
I'm going to have to get on some graphics for this
Print
one.
the tees.
Yes.
Late Night Lake Show. We need to completely rebrand this. Completely. Because they have like tees and hoodies and it's pretty elaborate.
Yeah.
We need to get rid of all that. We need to change it now.
Yeah. I think it's time to open up some designs on pro wrestling tees for us and really get on this. Yeah, I totally agree with you with all of the things you said, and it's the correct faction. I need to add 0% to this one.
Beautiful. I love it. Man, let's go ahead and roll into, I love that question a lot. Let's go ahead and roll into
on the fly too. Absolutely on the fly. I was like, oh, let's bury people today.
Sometimes those are the best.
Yeah.
Brad, let's wrap up these last 5 minutes or so with what we missed from the week. As usual, as is a relatively new tradition for us, I'll run through what I'm bringing to the table. Please add on anything I missed or even provide your thoughts on what I share. So last weekend, we had WrestleMania Backlash. Believe it or not, Brad, I am still yet to watch this show. It was Mother's Day. We had a very nice meal out, celebrated my mom. And I just haven't caught up to it yet whatsoever. But the Bloodline won. They beat RK Bro and Drew McIntyre. Roman Reigns and company are still on top. It looked awesome based on Twitter.
It was just, man, that most of the night, I think almost the entire card was great. Cody versus Seth was incredible. I love the sort of heelish end for both of them. I loved it.
Yes.
Cody's sort of bringing that shades of gray into WWE, I feel. And I really appreciate that. The Bloodline versus RK Bro at the end there was amazing.
You told me it gave you house show vibes, right? In a good way.
Yes. Yeah, it absolutely did, because they've been doing that stuff in house shows where they've been just sort of doing combined tag stuff, and the Bloodline's been doing stuff. And like Becky Lynch has been so interactive with fans at house shows that I'm really amped for it, because I love that she's just yelling out. I don't know if you saw the video of her yelling, "You're my fan, help me," to somebody in the front row. I thought that was amazing. It did give me house show vibes because of how cool it was. It didn't have any stakes, and yet I was invested. It was really good. The whole night was great. Rio was a great surprise, joining Diet House of Black. I thought that was really cool. Absolute ripoff of what they're doing in AEW, and everybody's saying, no, it's the Brood. It's House of Black. They're wearing suits and stuff. It's House of Black. Don't call it what it isn't. Anyway,
Ronda Rousey won as well, which
in great fashion. I actually really liked how the end of it happened, where it was you tap and no, I don't. I was hoping you'd say that, bitch, and then reamed on her arm.
Oh, I did not hear about that.
Oh, it's so good. Like, you gotta watch the end of that match. Like, I popped huge for the finish, and I don't even like Ronda in there. Ronda, I'm gonna say it again. Ronda is incredible. Just let her be Ronda. Just let her be Ronda. She sucks with a script. Let her be Ronda. Except don't let her be all the way Ronda. I don't want to hear Sandy Hook conspiracy theory Ronda, but I want the rest of Ronda is fine.
Yeah, please let's
the shitty takes and the bad politics, but whatever.
Yeah, let's exclude that. Absolutely.
Yeah.
We also have the announcement. I actually came across this earlier today, Brad. My dad sent it to me, and then I passed it on to you. Impact. I guess we continue to sleep on Impact, because I saw a really cool segment between Tasha Steelz and Gail Kim. Gail Kim made the announcement that we are getting the inaugural Queen of the Mountain. This all goes back to my love for TNA. We had the Jeff Jarrett King of the Mountain matches several times over back in the day. But at this year's Slammiversary this summer in June, I believe, we are getting the first ever, the inaugural Women's Queen of the Mountain match. And if I remember the participants correctly, of course, Tasha Steelz is defending it. We're also going to have Chelsea Green, Deonna Purrazzo, Jordan Grace, and the newest talent added to the roster, Mia Yim. I think this is huge, Brad. And this match alone is leading me to really consider getting Slammiversary.
June 19th.
Soon.
June 19th. Yes. Next month.
And then Forbidden Doors the week after.
Yeah, we got
Brad, we got nothing in 2 weeks as we record. What a summer.
Yeah, I don't know if there's enough barbecue on the planet for me to get ready for this. I'm going to have to really start cranking it out back there.
For real.
Yeah, absolutely can't wait. We also got this week a whole bunch of news about MJF possibly being very upset about his time in AEW and legitimately considering leaving to go to the WWE. Impossible to know if it's not all an elaborate work, but it does seem as though MJF is legitimately disgruntled with his time and his contract. He has more than earned enough money, but again, until that TV contract is up, or if they get an automatic early extension or find a new deal somewhere, AEW simply doesn't have the kind of revenue to start throwing at all of their talent. It's why they have to release people as well. They've done a really good job of not cutting people, but letting their contracts play out and then just simply not renewing at the end of a contract. We have a lot of contracts that are coming up pretty soon because a lot of people got hired for the same length of time at the same time at the start of AEW. So I have a feeling there's going to be a lot of people flowing in and out. Stu leaving and Marco Stunt leaving. There's just talent that's probably going to be coming in and out. Now,
Jack Evans.
And I hate to say it, but there's it's kind of not a lot of those guys are needed. I mean, are you going to give up Keith Lee and Swerve and guys they've built like Darby and Ricky and Powerhouse Hobbs and like Jericho? I'm not sure what happens with Jericho. I'm assuming he's coming to the end here in terms of his in-ring work, probably within the next year or two. I can't imagine him keeping going forever. I sure hope not. I don't know what happens with Kazarian. I don't know because he's not young either.
Great match against Scott.
Incredible match.
That dude can work still.
He's amazing, but they haven't really done anything with him. And I don't know what his role is behind the scenes. So that's the other thing is we don't know what other guys are doing. Like we know that that Dustin is working behind the scenes and he's coaching and producing and that kind of stuff. But he's also 54, 53. And can still go. He had a great match against Punk. Did you catch his the sessions with Renee? His interview?
No, I haven't.
It's great.
Was it good?
Yeah, it was really good. Really emotional. He talked a lot about his time with addiction. Dude was taking like I can't remember how many Vicodins a day, like 40, which I didn't even know was possible. Before finally going, I need to go and get some help. And he went into rehab and he's been sober ever since, and it's awesome. But he lost like 100+ pounds, and he looks incredible. He's healthy. He's got his relationships with his family. I didn't know he was living in a garage.
I know that.
Yeah, there's a lot of stuff, and his wife stuck with him through the entire thing, and it's pretty amazing. The story is incredible, but he also said that because he's doing coaching and he has his wrestling school and all of these things that Tony will basically give him a heads up a week or two in advance and saying, hey, you're going to be wrestling this week. Cool. And he'll get ready because he's not working all the time. And he can't do some spots. And he's like, I wish I would have been able to do that move faster in the Punk match. But I love that he's still there. And I love that he's still doing work, but I love that he does it every 2 months or so. Because you bring him out, it's immediately I love that he's getting his flowers from the fans. Because I don't feel like he got them when he was Gold Dust nearly as much, especially toward the end. And I love this run for him as just sort of being the natural. And it's been great. But I don't know who else he got. So MJF needs to be signed immediately, extended immediately. Do what you have to do. You can just sell half of Dark. Just all of the people there, just sell them to somebody else. And then use that money to give to MJF. Although I do love watching Dark. Man, I like Dark. Dark is very much a house show, right? Like you get all these random combinations. You got all these people that are learning the business or just a bunch of sort of, I don't want to call them jobbers. That's not the appropriate word there, but guys that are enhancement talent that are there that end up getting matches with Hangman and John Silver and like people in the Dark Order, or just Blackpool Combat Club will show up every once in a while, or you'll get I can't even remember what Danielson's lucha name was when he came out in like a Spider-Man suit,
yeah.
basically.
Yeah. What a time.
Yeah, absolutely amazing stuff. So, dude, that MJF stuff has me worried. If he's not in AEW, I don't want to see him in WWE because it's not going to work there, because you won't be allowed to be MJF there.
Mm-hmm. You think they'll have their proverbial thumb on him too much, and it'll be the diet version of what we're getting now.
Absolutely. I mean, it's sort of like who went there and then ended up kind of petering out? Kamala got watered down when he went to the WWE. He was like a terrifying monster, and they made him kind of a comedy thing. There's versions of that have happened, things that have worked elsewhere and didn't work there. Like imagine the Undertaker in NWA.
Sure. Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Not the same. Yeah.
That would not have worked at all. It would have been terrible in the NWA. It would have been like, nobody believes this. This is wrestling. This is silly. What is this stuff? You put him in the WWE and it's the perfect storm. Because you have these characters and you can suspend believability and do all that. Because otherwise you're just Mark and whatever his name was before that. I can't remember, Marvelous Mark or something. Or Mark the Giant. I don't know what the hell they were calling him.
Yeah. Mark
yeah, he was something Mark Calloway. I don't remember what it was, but I think MJF going to, well, think about all the shit he said to Pillman's mom.
Yeah, he would not be doing that on Mondays, nor Fridays.
There would be no drug references. There would be no sex references.
It would be much.
There would
different.
be no blood references. There would be it would just be bad, I think, and I think he would end up jobbing out to a lot of people because he's the heelist. So? Yes, because he's the heelist heel. They're not going to let him be Seth Rollins.
Right. It's weird. I think I have some more optimism than you on this one.
For WWE? Oof.
I know. No, your skepticism is well pointed out and well taken. I'm really eager to see what they do with Cody. And I know Cody is his own case. There was history there. There's a legacy there. I know he's kind of his own situation. But if they do right by him, if he ends up getting that world title reign that we suspect, and I know you have your reservations about how Cody's going to be used, especially say a year from now when some of the euphoria of his return wears off. Like you said, to lead this off, we don't know if this is an elaborate work or a shoot with MJF or a little bit of both, which is probably the most likely. However, I could absolutely see MJF moving in 2 years, securing the bag. And he's so young that this ideally would not be the end of his career, is that he's signing on for 15 years with WWE. I could really see Vince McMahon and company just gravitating toward this guy based on his mic work and the fact that he's becoming one of the best in ring. Your reservations are well taken. I know you're just sitting there waiting to respond, Brad.
Well, I had some thoughts.
No. I hear you. And I think your points are very valid. I really think this guy, I would hope that they would recognize how special he is. And if The Miz has had the career in WWE that he has had and been world champion and they've done right by him, I think in many cases, is MJF not The Miz? Like, I was going to say on steroids, but that's not a great analogy. Isn't The Miz like isn't MJF sort of the apex of what The Miz could be?
Yes, but unscripted.
You're not wrong.
That's the problem, is that he's not going to have creative control over this stuff. Like, there's not going to be dinner debonair at WWE. There's not going to be necessarily the labors of MJF and him calling people out or reading the room and being able to just say what's on his mind based on what's happening there. I think he gets in trouble. He's not going to be able to do any of the fan interaction stuff that he's done in the past. They'd have to keep him off tour if that was the case. I don't know what he looks like if he's reading from a script. I don't know if he's any good if his lines are fed to him. And think about all the stuff that he says that's wrestling term related that he simply won't be allowed to use in WWE. So
it's not wrestling, it's sports entertainment.
It's sports entertainment. He's not going to be allowed to call them marks. He's not going to be able to call them like there's just so many things that he won't be able to use that makes him MJF. The references to all of the history will be there. But they're probably not going to let him acknowledge AEW exists. But this is the thing that I thought would be the perfect bridge. So we already saw that Mickie James, Impact Women's Champion at the time, came back to the Royal Rumble. I understand it's a different circumstance because she was in the company for so long. MJF doing a one-off program with Cody is the perfect way to have interaction with WWE and AEW because Cody loses nothing from going back and forth. Nothing. Only gains. It's good for everybody. I don't know that it puts a spotlight on AEW. It certainly puts more of a spotlight on AEW for people in WWE that don't watch or don't know it exists because that's there. I don't know that I know people make a big deal about the demographic and who's watching and look at SmackDown has 2 million people and look at Raw has around 2 million people are watching. And it's like, well, yeah, it's been there for 25 years. AEW's been here for 8 minutes. So it's what, year 3, year 2? I don't even know what year this is. I think the 3rd anniversary is coming up this year, right?
Correct. Yeah.
So they haven't even
3rd anniversary of Double or Nothing. Yeah.
Yeah. They haven't even been here for 3 years yet. So it's impossible to compare the two in terms of success rate when it's like the WWE has been here since before it was the WWE. So it's just it's not a night and day comparison. That being said, Cody didn't change anything when he went from AEW to WWE. He's still Cody, the American Nightmare, Cody Rhodes. He's still got the same theme. He's got the Downstate theme, Kingdom, and he's still coming up in the Cody Vader, and he's still wearing the same coat and the same gear.
It's amazing. Yeah.
His presentation's the same. His promos are the same. They're letting Cody be Cody. So why not have MJF come in? And MJF can be like, the last time I was here, you didn't see any talent in me. And then put it up on the Tron. You maybe be security for Samoa Joe, and then you fired him. Like that could be amazing.
Yes, thank you. Yes,
that's what I want. That's what I want. But I don't want MJF in WWE. I want MJF AEW employee in WWE. That's what I want. Because I want MJF to be this guy that just goes where the money is and like a mercenary, but I want him with AEW so he can be maximum MJF. And I think that'll happen. I really do. I think Tony knows what he has there. I think if it comes down to it at the end, he's going to match whatever he gets offered at WWE. But it would be silly to think MJF's not weighing the options. I mean, why wouldn't you? If WWE is going to throw $8 million at you and TK is paying you currently $600,000, I mean, why the hell wouldn't you leave?
Right.
Like I'd leave too, but
money talks.
But if that again, they got to have the money, they got to have the revenue, and they're not getting it just from gates and pay-per-view buys, even though I know they're getting a lot and t-shirt sales and stuff like that. But I think it depends on two things. Number one, the success of the video game. Number two, whether or not they can extend or get streaming rights. And I guess a third one is the TV deal. What happens with the TV deal? I think TBS, TNT, the Warner networks probably realize what a home run they have here with younger demographic because they're not making shit on those networks. They're not making new TV shows. It's all sports and live programming. So I think the future is in that, but I don't know what happens with this merger. So I'm really curious to see what happens with the merger and what they do with AEW and the properties that they own. If anything, because Tony owns them, he can do whatever the hell he wants with them now. So I don't know, man, because it's so confusing and complicated. I think I forget the way that it works. It's easy with WWE to go, well, WWE is its own thing. It's not owned by USA Network. It's not owned by Fox because they're on two separate places. Plus they're on the cock. With AEW, I just think it belongs to TBS. It belongs to TNT. Because they're on there. It's weird, but that's the way that I view those things. And I don't know how to separate them. So Tony owns all that stuff. And if he wants to go, if he gets a better deal elsewhere, he's probably going to take it, but it depends on viewership. So like final thought here. I know we're going to go long. As I said, I wanted it to be shorter. If I told you that, let's see what network would be terrible. I don't know. A&E networks, A&E specifically was like, we want AEW on A&E, the two A's teaming up. Boom. A&E. Or hell, Hallmark wants you. Probably going to go with A&E here. A&E wants you, and you get a streaming deal. Do you take that if it's more money, if you're Tony Khan? Because I don't think the audience is there. What's your lead-in show? The Walking Dead?
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, I don't know that it's all about money in that case. What is the best fit?
But what if NBC comes calling? What if, I doubt they will because of Peacock, but what if ABC comes calling? Maybe they end up with a streaming deal through Disney. Maybe all of Ring of Honor and AEW ends up on Hulu because they own that. That seems like a good fit for it. There's a million possibilities here. I just don't know that the Warner Media and Discovery merger, I don't think they let go. I'm fascinated by all of this. Obviously, I'm very fascinated by all of this. I just don't know how any of this shit works. So we'll see what happens. Hopefully it keeps MJF there. I know that was like a whole other segment we just did, but
that was great, man. I love hearing your passion about it. And these next 2 years are going to be fascinating. And by 2024, when we have this conversation again, I'm sure of it, we will have way more answers to these questions and have a clearer picture of the landscape and the, sort of the 5 or 10 year plan for AEW, because these next 2 years are going to be pivotal for their growth.
Yeah. Last thing, I just wanted to say, I'm so grateful that Jess is okay, that the car is totaled, but she was safe. I also want to give our thoughts and our well wishes and our prayers to all the people in Buffalo. What a terrible event. Another one. I don't really know what else to say other than that. There's not much I can say other than my thoughts are with you all. And looking forward to this week. I have good feelings about this week. Tyler, it is my last week.
You made it.
Kids.
You made it, bro. Here we are.
Summer. We're almost in summer. Maybe I'll write an article this week.
Let's go.
Been promising that for about 6 months.
Let's go. Yeah. That would be the cherry on top.
Yes,
of this big week you have. I'm so excited for you. You made it to the finish line, and summer is within your grasp.
Yes, and let's get out of here so you can go watch your sons.
Let's do it, man. GimmickInfringementPod.com. We gave our individual Twitters earlier. We just finally want to thank those of you who are listening and watching for your support. Please tell a friend about us. Please do not hesitate to reach out to let us know what you're enjoying, any ideas you have. We are here to serve. And again, we just are so grateful for your listenership and your viewership. And we hope to see you on the next edition of Gimmick Infringement. Gimmick Infringement is a part of 19 Media Group. You can listen to us on Apple, Spotify, iHeartRadio, or wherever you find podcasts. You can also find us on YouTube via the 19 Media Group channel. Please like, subscribe, comment, and share.